Start recording and some kind of neighbor starts to work with a tool that's really noisy. That's great. Well, let's freaking start. And greetings, Raven lovers, artists, and other crazy people. Welcome to whatever the heck this video is supposed to be. I'm not sure, I don't have a freaking clue. As you might be able to tell, I'm unscripted right now, because I didn't have time to finish a script this time. Woohoo! And I don't even have time to finish the artwork that you see in the background and the physical capacity, because my body is kind of preventing me from drawing too much currently, which is
emotional damage.
yeah. And also my tablet is currently striking. I don't know if it will work in the next couple of days or not, but we will probably need to send that baby in for repair. I still have warranty on it, so should be fine, but I'm so nervous about sending it away. But anyways, so I want to talk a little bit about Baldur's Gate 3 in this video because it's matching the artwork that I was drawing, and I'm so into the rabbit hole that I can barely think of anything else. Plus, I want to give you some little life updates and some plans that I have for December this year, so if you want to hear that, you might want to stick around to the end because I will get to that at the end. But yeah, let's talk about my obsession first, right? Shall we? So yeah, why am I doing a fan art for Baldur's Gate 3 suddenly? Where does this come from? You can all thank my YouTube buddy or YouTube pal, whatever you want to call it, Unique Simulacrum for that. Simu, if you listen to that, thank you so much for making me obsess over another piece of media. I didn't have enough under my belly already. Under my belt. I guess you say under my belt, right? I can't properly talk when I'm unscripted. It's like the kind of brain fart you have to expect here. Oh yeah, by the way. I have no clue how I will call this video, but I assume it will probably have Baldur's Gate 3 in the title somewhere, so that might draw the attention to some people that are new here. So maybe one or two new people are watching this right now and they're kind of wondering, like, who the heck is she? Maybe I should do a proper introduction. So, hi guys, in case you're new here. Hi, I'm terracorvus, and I'm an illustrator and a somewhat wannabe art YouTuber. I try to combine my skills in art with trying to be funny and entertaining for everyone, no matter if they are an artist themselves or not. So you're always supposed to have a little bit of, escapism time in here from the hell that is the real world, and get out of the videos with a little smile on your face. Or be calmed by one of my cozy draw with me's, which I also have here. But this is not one of these. Initially, my cozy draw with me's are the only ones where I'm unscripted, but this is just for the sake of emergency because I didn't have time to finish my script for the other video, so I thought for the sake of just getting a new video out, and for the sake of just talking my head off about Baldur's Gate 3, which is my current new special interest, I just do it this casual way. Usually I'm also accompanied by an assistant of mine. His name is Hugin, and he's a snobby raven who usually knows everything better than me. But for some reason, always when I tell him that I will be unscripted in a video, he finds other excuses to not be in the video. All of the time. Like, always finds new excuses. Well, I think he just doesn't like hearing me ramble. I hope you like it, because this is what you will get in this video. So, go on, put on your seatbelts, guys. You're in for an absolute ride today. So, I'm not even sure how long this is going to be. Probably very long. And I'm not sure if I will have enough footage for this. This will be interesting in the editing part. My goodness. Oh, I'm already sweating when I think about that. Maybe I'll let Hugin do the editing, huh? Hugin, what do you think about that? My boy, my friend, I love you very much.
One eternity later.
Anyway, so Baldur's Gate 3. Why can we thank Unique Simulacrum for that? Well, recently he started streaming the old Baldur's Gate, so the first one of the games. Funny enough, I always thought the 3 in Baldur's Gate 3 stands just for something within the game, that this is just the title of the game, because I never heard of Baldur's Gate before, and I thought this is just something that happens in the game, like some kind of item that appears 3 times or whatever. I didn't think that much about it. And later on I discovered that, oh, there are 2 previous games with the name Baldur's Gate. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I was such a noob to the whole thing, and now I'm so deep into this. I even watch lore videos now. Gosh. But yeah, so he started live streaming Baldur's Gate, and I became more and more interested in seeing the third game play out. And I knew that he had streamed that before, so I decided to give the rewatch of his old live stream a shot, see if I liked it, because I became more and more curious about it. He had like 44 episodes of that. The 44th was just a few minutes of recording from this scene that plays out after the credits. The one with Withers who mocks that free. But the other 43 episodes were, like, most of them were like 4 hours long, and some of them were like 1 hour or 2 hours, but most of them were like 4 hours long. I have to say it was only 44 episodes because at one point he decided to not continue with every single little quest he had and just finish a few, like tie up a few loose storylines and then go straight to the ending. He was not doing a completionist run, otherwise that would have gone on way longer than that. But anyways, so I watched all of these 44 episodes of the live stream in approximately 2 weeks. I basically devoured the entire thing. Every single day I watched at least one of them, and maybe then continued watching at least half of the next episode until I got tired. I watched it while I was drawing, I watched it while I was working on a crafting project, which you will also get to see in one of my future videos, probably next year, because it takes a lot of time to work on these bigger video projects. And yeah, after that, I was kind of missing something. So I started to watch videos about the game, like deep dives about the characters, videos about the gameplay mechanics, hidden secrets, funny moments, like all of that kind of stuff that you could imagine. I'm basically spoiled about the most things already, but it still didn't still my thirst for playing it myself, which I currently can't because I'm broke. But I'm in a little bit of a better position right now, and I think maybe at the end of November I might be finally capable of buying that damn game. Because that's the thing, you can't just start playing a game, things cost money, right? So, yeah. This was my only way to engage with the game, watching other people play or watch some deep dives about the game and stuff like that. And as recently I even started to watch lore videos about Forgotten Realms. I'm officially obsessed right now. Like lore videos about the different monsters. Like I was always so confused about why some people call that one monster a spectator and some people call it a beholder. And then I figured out, oh, they are all beholders, but there are different breeds of them, and one of these breeds is called a spectator. Oh, thank God, I know it right. I know it now, I feel so much better now. It's great. I basically can talk about all of these different things forever now, which is just absolutely great. And I decided to start with a fan art of Karlach because I wanted to train my digital skills a little bit more. Those of you who don't know, I'm primarily a traditional artist. Digital is not my strong suit just yet, but I'm getting a little bit more comfortable with it. And since I also like to dive into animation once in a while, I thought if I do a digital fan art piece. It should be the one that's also slightly animated. And I thought Karlach is just a perfect victim for that because the girl is basically on fire, like quite literally. So bringing flames into the whole thing, that would be really cool. Other than that, it's a pretty... Frog in my throat, I'm sorry. Gosh, maybe I cut it out, I don't know. Other than that, it's a pretty generic, like, bust image with an angry facial expression, which I struggled so much with. You can probably see me erasing this mouth, especially, lots of times. I was so unsure about it, and I'm still kind of unsure about it. Like, facial anatomy is so weird, guys. It shifts around so much, depending on your expressions. And even if I take a reference photo of my face doing the exact same expression from the exact same angle, it still looks a little bit different than on Karlach because Karlach has a different facial anatomy than me and a different lip shape and all of that. So all of that is still stretching out in a different kind of way than on me when I'm doing the same kind of expression. So it's a little bit of guesswork for me because I'm not that good with facial anatomy just yet, and how different one specific face can look from specific angles in specific expressions. This is just a whole other can of worms to study for an artist, and it's without a right reference to find, that was really hard. Like, I found one where she had exactly the expression I needed, but not from exactly the angle that I needed. And so, there was a little bit of going back and forth between so many different references and trying to figure out how that's supposed to look like. And actually, when I looked it up on myself, actually the jar or the chin part actually moves out quite more. It's way more exaggerated. But drawing it on her this way looked so stupid and over exaggerated in a way. And I thought, like, this can't be right. That doesn't look right. So I didn't continue with that. I kept it a little bit less. Sometimes less is more, and I think that looks better, but I'm still not sure if it looks right. You have to tell me. I even needed to take a rest from this for multiple days before I came back to it with fresh eyes, and then I was like, yeah, it looks kind of okay, I guess I continue with it. But how? I'm still not sure. I'm still not sure. Even after mirroring it, I think the whole mirroring part is just confusing me, because when you mirror it, you see what looks wrong in the mirror part, and then you fix it in the mirror part, and then you mirror it back, and then it looks wrong in the unmirrored part again. Like, I don't... But yeah, Karlach. Whoops. Sorry, I bounced on my mic. So, everyone's favorite tiefling, I assume. I don't think there is a single person who played the game who doesn't like Karlach. She has such golden retriever energy. This is, She's really lovely. She's not entirely a good person, of course. She has her little flaws. Like, you can especially see this when you get to any points that have to do with soul coins, which consuming them is morally questionable. God, I can't talk anymore. And she still does it because it feels good for her engine. But if you know about the law of soul coins and that it's not only evil souls who are trapped in that, which also gets confirmed in-game for 3 stories of 3 particular soul coins that we can get. We hear the stories of each of these souls trapped inside, and, well, they weren't bad people, not at all. And Karlach feels definitely very, very uncomfortable hearing about that, but does want to take them anyways. And I guess it's kind of like a reflection to a lot of people in our world right now. Like, we all want to be good people, we don't want to hurt anyone, but we still use a lot of pieces of technology that are produced by some poor children who probably were treated pretty bad and live under horrible conditions and stuff like that. And yeah, so even though that might feel out of character, I think it's a nice little nod to that no one is perfect. Unless Will, maybe. Will is basically flawless, which might be a little bit of a problem. I mean, I think it's nice that he is so... like, he has a really great character, I think, but it is a character for... like the end of a story, maybe? It doesn't really help good with a story arc because you don't have a character arc that he needs to go through. And also, if you take his age, like he's one of the youngest guys in the group. He is just 24 years old and already that mature? Come on, this is not the most mature age. Oh, in case you hear that, that's the coffee machine. It goes off after a specific amount of time on its own. Great. I'm not sure if that's on the audio. I will need to listen back to that in order to find that out. But yeah, in case you hear that was a coffee machine. Oh my goodness. I'm such a freaking professional, am I? So yeah, I still think that Will has interesting story arc to him, but it's a little bit short. It's a little bit undeveloped because most of the interesting part of his story is happening in Act 3. For most of the other time, he's just taking a back seat, and it's a little bit sad. But I still like him as a character. I heard how Early Access Will was. Gosh, my brain, guys. I heard about how Early Access Will was, and apparently there was way more nuance to his character, but he was pissing off a lot of gamers and they wanted to fix that, but they were in a time crunch, so they probably weren't able to finish the whole fixing Will part properly, so he is just a really blank kind of character now. Not blank, like he has a personality, but not as interesting and layered as the others, and he doesn't have as much going on with his entire quest line. But still, I don't hate on him. I don't hate on any of the characters in the group. I like all of them. I had a little bit of a problem with Shadowheart at the beginning. I don't know why, but something about her was kind of unsympathetic to me. But at the end I warmed up to her because Simo, of course, while choosing to play the most nicest way possible, he of course went the Salunid way with her, and like after that she was way more interesting and to me, and also more bearable as a person. With Lae'zel, I never had that much problem than other people. I think she was interesting and definitely had a lot of potential to grow as a character. Sadly, Simo lost her in Act 3. Those of you who know, she's one of the people that you can lose in that particular instance. And he wasn't able to save her. He could have, but something went wrong. I don't know what. Maybe she got hit in a fight or something. Because I think he chose the right dialogue option. But yeah, I don't know. He lost her. But still, I think like she's also an important part of the group that I kind of like, and that you see warming up more and more to the group. And I think it's also something worthy of noticing that she doesn't question at all if she should tell you and the rest of the group about the presumed solution for your tadpole problem that she thinks to have, and telling you about the location of this crash and getting there. She doesn't decide to get there on her own and get a cure on her own. Despite the fact that Yankee are supposed to be kind of a fascist race who thinks that they are superior to others, she doesn't really care about that. She kind of like is all like, dude, I have this solution, I want to share this with all of you. You know, and that's saying something. Also, did you know that Lae'zel is only 22 years old? She is the youngest of the entire group. I didn't know that. She seems so, I don't know, she doesn't look super old or anything, but she has some kind of a specific maturity, not in the best way, but she comes across as very experienced, and I don't know, I thought it was really interesting. I really didn't think that she's only 22. I thought she is definitely 30 or something like that. I assume Gale is the oldest of the Origin companions, but I'm not sure about it. I mean, Astarion is definitely the oldest, because the whole vampire thing and living for 200 years, and if he wouldn't be a vampire, he might still be alive, because elf and stuff, they also have quite a long lifespan as far as I'm aware, so I don't know. But I guess from all of them who are not super long-living creatures, I think Gale is the oldest, I assume. Could be, I don't know. But yeah, and of course I really, really love Karlach. Oh my gosh, but she is so tragic, and I think it's kind of sad that you don't get this other option for her that was planned to be implemented. You kind of see scratches of this in the game, like with the thing with the Gondians, knowing how infernal engines work and stuff like that. And they were talking about planning something like this, Larian Studios, for the DLC, but then they decided to not make the DLC. And it's kind of sad, but on the other hand, one of the endings at least fills you with the hope that she and one of the other companions will come up with a solution later on. And definitely there are ways of fixing that, there are solutions for that problem, because Larian could already think of a solution that they would bring into the DLC. So there's definitely a way, and maybe they will find it. So this ending for me is definitely the best. I of course don't want to spoil too much for those of my friends watching who just started playing the game. I don't want to go too much into details here, which is kind of hard for me. But yeah, I'm really invested right now, as you can probably tell already. Like, oh, I'm so hyped, and I can't wait to finally play that freaking thing myself. Like, I'm so tired of waiting, but I still need to save up a little bit. I need to be careful with all of the stuff that's getting away from my bank account. I need to calculate a lot, like, can I buy the game right now, or is that just the straw that breaks the camel's back if I purchase this right now? So yeah, I have to be careful and calculate really carefully if I can afford it or not. But eventually I will play it myself, and then I will probably not shut up about it for quite a while. There are definitely more fan arts to come in the future at some point. Like, I have one fan art planned with all of my favorites included, like all of my favorite Origin characters, which are 3. One of them is my absolute favorite. One of them is actually Karlach, because this is one of the reasons why I also choose her for one of my first fan arts. And then there are a lot of fan arts of my absolute favorite. And actually, the surprising part is, it's not Astarion, actually.
Say what?
Like, he is in the group of my favorites, don't get me wrong, I love him, I think he is hilarious and entertaining, but surprisingly, I was not finding myself being into him in that way, like feeling drawn to him and feeling like I would let my character romance him. And I was expecting that, okay? Because all I saw in a promo was a white-haired dude, which is also a vampire, that is probably a little bit dangerous and a little bit problematic, and has this whole I can fix him energy about him. And I'm all in for that, okay? In fiction, at least. In fiction, I'm all for either the bad guys or the problematic guys with a lot of emotional baggage on their shoulders. And especially if they have white hair or gray hair, yeah, they are definitely in my radar. So I thought for sure I would probably also fall for that character. But then I saw him in the game actually acting and interacting and hear him talk, and I was like, okay, he's way different than I expected him to be. Like, he's not really someone that you have to be afraid of because he's not necessarily a fighter guy. He's more like this sneaky guy that tries to ambush you if he has the chance. He is actually kind of scared of a lot of things. Not the bravest person. And also has this attitude on him that's very theatrical and kind of like drag queen energy, I think. He's always like, oh, darling. It's great. It's awesome. And I think let's call it fixed Asterion, the Asterion and his good ending, or one of his best endings, as he comes out there, is actually someone who you would like to be friends with, or I would like to be friends with. He could be really fun to hang out with. But for some reason I felt like I'm not really drawn to him in that specific way. And I thought, why is that? And perhaps that's because of this whole attitude and the fact that he appears a little bit more on the typical feminine side, if that makes sense. I guess that's just not my type, perhaps. Could be. But who is it then? Who is this one character that I adore so much? Well, it's the slightly arrogant but still polite and very goody two-shoes wizard that just can't stop talking.
Hello, I'm Gale of Waterdeep.
Yes, I'm into the nerd, guys. There, I said it. The nerd. The nerdy wizard Gale is my absolute favorite. There are just so many aspects about his character that make him interesting for me and that are also like, oh. And he has a lot of aspects that I actually also would appreciate in a guy in real life, not just in fiction. He of course also has its flaws because he needs reason for character growth in his story, of course. But they are bedded into his character in a way that you can kind of see where he's coming from. He's not just like, for instance, he has this problem that he is, like most wizards, a little bit power hungry. At least it appears like that. But you can, if you look closer into the whole thing and look beneath all of the layers given to this character, you start to understand that this is not power hungry for just the sake of giving him any kind of flaw and for the sake of, hey, he's a wizard, he needs to be power hungry. There is an actual story reason for that, an actual psychological reason for that, if you think about it. First of all, like, he's also very arrogant, but he only is arrogant in maybe a little bit in how he appears, like how he looks like, slightly, but mostly when it comes to magic and his knowledge about magic. Like, he doesn't accept that anyone might know better, basically. But you can't kind of fault only him for that. It has to do a lot with his upbringing, because magic and his ability in that, the fact that he was a prodigy child, there was constantly basically repeated to him. There was that thing that people talked about the most when it came to him, the thing that was given the most attention or was brought the most attention to. So nothing else really mattered. He had this one thing to be proud at, and nothing else seemed like it is enough. Like, he constantly has this feeling that he's not enough. You can get this when you talk to him. I guess you can get this even better when you romance him. Like, you apparently have even more dialogue scenes with him, or more longer ones that extend on that a little bit more, that he feels like he is not enough and that without his magic he's worth nothing. Which, of course, it's not true. He's still a great person, but this is his fear, and he's constantly trying to get the approval of people, especially of his ex. Yeah, did I already mention that I hate Mystra? I am an official Mystra hater, and after watching the deep dive of his character and a 2-hour video about the lore of Mystra, I'm even more confirmed. I mean, I didn't even pick up on these slight things before when I just watched the playthrough. But after I watched the deep dive about his character, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't unsee this anymore right now. Gosh, is that gross. And it's fitting because all of the characters, or at least all of the origin characters, have some kind of story to them that tie into the cycle of abuse. Every single one of these characters is a victim of abuse in some kind of way, even though it's not as on the nose with every single character as with Asterion. You have that theme playing throughout the entire game, and especially with all of your companions, and Gale is no exception for that. He is basically a grooming victim. And yeah. So Mystra is a pretty shitty person, and I mean, she might be good as a goddess. I mean, all she has to do basically is existing, so magic exists because she is the weave. So it doesn't seem to be the hardest job. And also, being good at your job doesn't immediately make you a good person. I think that's great for everyone. Clear for everyone, oh my gosh. I don't talk sense these days. Or today, I don't know. But yeah, and this brings us to the other thing with the power hunger. This definitely has to do with all of that a lot, because all of the times when he, like back when he did this little oopsie that made him from lover to ex-lover, that was all just because he wanted to prove his love and dedication, because he wanted to get a way to be on equal footing with his supposed lover, which is kind of understandable. Yes, he was a little bit entitled, and yes, when he talks about it, he is kind of standing up for his mistakes, but also trying to find excuses for it. But you can kind of get it. Like, this was not just like he wanted to overthrow a god or want to become a god just for the sake of that. He was in a romantic relationship with Mystra. Of course, he wanted to be on equal footing with her. Like, this is kind of a key thing for a healthy relationship, which she is not prone to know. Like, again, I watched a lore video about her, and all of her incarnations were like this, and even more predatory and devious than the current incarnation we have. Apparently the current one is the most nicest one of all so far. This is crazy. But yeah, I mean, I hope I didn't spoil too much about this. Like, it's said to you pretty early in the game that he had a relationship with her. It's kind of a surprise, but he says this to you, and like maybe one of which rest scene is that? Maybe the third or so. Like, I don't know after when exactly that plays out, this kind of thing, but it's not. Let's say it's not that big of a spoiler. This thing he tells you about his specific condition before that is a bit more of something I would consider a more important thing to give away, so that is something I keep for me, even though he tells you about that even earlier, I think. But does he tell you earlier about the thing with Mystra? I don't know. I don't really know what came before that. But yeah, you can kind of see about this. And when there is this other time in Act 2, I think, where he starts to think about using a certain artifact to gain more power, it's also basically mostly because he thinks he's not enough the way he is. And you can talk him out of this quite good. It's actually quite easy. You just need to pay attention to some certain things about him. And yeah, I think that is really, really cool. And other than that, he is very polite and pays attention to the needs of others. And it's not very judgy. I think he's pretty open-minded. He doesn't even have to say a lot about the fact that Asterion is a vampire, which comes out as a surprise for every character in the group for some reason. Even though it was plainly obvious from the beginning, like it's world's worst hidden secret. And it's also like in the promotion of the game, I think. Everyone who never played the game already knows that this guy is a vampire. And I mean, he has red eyes, pale skin, he has the bite marks on his neck, and when he smiles you can see his fangs. Like, what else do you guys want? It's so blatantly obvious, and for some reason it still comes out as a surprise for the members of the group. Though I think, like, if you play as a Asterion and you bite Gale, there's apparently a scene where he reacts to that and is like, "Ha! I knew it! I knew you!" It's like, apparently Gale already has the suspicion about this already, which would kind of fit. Because he is the brain of the gang, you know. But yeah, if it comes out and you ask him about how he's feeling about that, he's kind of like, well, we all have our own demons that we have to fight with. Which basically also refers to his own condition. I guess he can kind of relate to Asterion in a way. And he's one of the only ones who doesn't show up right in front of Asterion's tent when it comes out. Lae'zel and Shadowheart are already there confronting him about this. I don't know how Will and Karlach react to that, because they were not in the group already when Simo was at this point of the game. So don't know how they would react to that. I think Karlach might be a bit more chill about it. Will might be a bit more on the fence and careful, but maybe not as judgy as Lae'zel and Shadowheart. They are both pretty judgy people at the beginning of the game. But Gale is not. Gale is pretty chill with a lot of things, but of course he gets judgy if you do something morally questionable. I just completely forgot my line of thoughts, but yeah, I really love him, and I guess I could talk about him and the whole Mystra misery for hours, but I guess I keep that for another video where I just make fan art about him. I don't have that much to say about Karlach though. I really love her, but I can't really talk about her without spoilering the heck out of this, because basically all I can say about her is a spoiler in its own. Yeah, basically everything. Even if I hint at the fact that there is not really a super happy ending for her, like she's the only character that doesn't have a complete happy ending. She just has one that is, like, you can decide which feels better for you. The one with the... can I talk about this without being spoilery? The one with the turning, I think is questionable. I mean, if you do that yourself as your own character, you get a scene with Withers where he tells you that he was wrong and that apparently some of these creatures can have a soul. But I think in her case, in Karlach's case, is really like that it's just her memories being abducted by this other thing, this other life form, and that she herself is actually gone. Because at the beginning you kind of don't really realize that, because she talks exactly the same way than before, but when you meet her again, she uses the same kind of wordings, but she sounds way more distant and melancholic. It's weird. So I think it's not really her anymore. Maybe I bring in a spoiler warning in front of this just in case someone who doesn't want to hear that, and just skip to another part. I will bring some timestamps in for this video, I guess. Oh gosh, editing this rumbly mess will be a nightmare. Ooh. Now I'm trapped in Avernus myself. This is hell. But yeah. At least I can distract myself from my pain. So, I don't know. Do I have still anything to say? Like, sometimes I can talk about my special interests for hours on end, but sometimes it's also like when I record and I'm getting excited about sharing all of these things, suddenly everything I wanted to say is gone. This is what can happen if you're unscripted, I guess. It's a total mess, always. And yeah, but like I said, I really love the game, and there are some things I could not shut up about, and I can't stop thinking about it, and it's really hard for me to focus on my own projects right now. This is the problem with special interests. especially if they're just starting to bloom, they consume you rather than you consume them. And you can't think about anything else, you don't want to do anything else, you don't want to talk about anything else. Working on my own projects, on my own original projects, is so hard for me right now. I really don't have the passion to do that because I can't focus on it. It's just not possible. And if you hear any bumping noises, that are the kids of my neighbors upstairs. They really don't know how to pay attention to the needs of others. I mean, I didn't say that I'm recording anything, but anyway, running around in an apartment that is upstairs where you have people living beneath you, it's kind of mean, isn't it? But yeah, anyways, I can't wait to play that game, and if I start to play the game, I will probably, even if I'm cured out of this rabbit hole a little bit more at this point, as soon as I start to play it, I will be most likely already in the next round of my obsession. So yeah, the brain rot strong is in this one. I'm even thinking about doing some little brain rot comics, because if I can't work on my own ideas for comic projects, I could at least use the brain rot power to exercise paneling and stuff like this. Not great writing, because you know, these brain rot comics of things that you're into usually don't end up with great writing or anything. It's just like a little scene that you don't know how to tie together with other scenes that is playing around in your head, and you just kind of want to put it onto paper. And it's basically for your own enjoyment. It's never really great written or anything, but I could exercise like how to place the bubbles and how to do the paneling in the best way possible to bring the scene to life. That would be kind of a cool exercise, while having also fun drawing my beloved characters and bringing a self-insert into the mix, because of course it's always like this when I'm obsessed with a piece of media. I always have to have a self-insert character in some kind of way, especially if there is a character existing in that game that I would be kind of into. So my self-insert is thrown together with them. This is so weird. Anyways, yeah, probably stuff like this will happen, and maybe I will film when I work on brain rot comics like this, and film the process of this. Might be kind of fun. Very vulnerable, maybe, but yeah, that might be kind of a funny thing to do. Who knows? Maybe I will do that. But yeah. I think that's it for now. I think I've finally cooled down for today, or at least for the next couple of hours, with the brain rot energy. So let's quickly talk about the other things that I want to talk about, in case you're not interested in that. Of course you can skip that part, but before you leave, if you're one of my really dedicated viewers who participate in any kind of thing and you haven't really seen my community tab yet, either head to my community tab to the newest post, or just type the answer to my question into the comment section. I have, like I said, plans for Christmas. I once did an advent calendar on YouTube, like I think 2 years ago already, or something like that. And I can't do it the same way I did it last time, because I just simply don't have the time and energy to work on such a big project that slowly gets revealed throughout the doors, and then you get to see the final result at the end. Something like this will not be it. This time I want to involve you guys. I want you to give me either a prompt that I need to interpret in my way so I can draw something with it, or you give me a challenge or a prompt with a challenge combined. You can give me multiple ideas if you have multiple ones, because I need to fill up quite a lot of doors. I think, let's say 22. For 2 of the doors I have ideas myself that I might want to take, but if I get more ideas and yours was not in it, don't be sad, I might find other ways to include this in future videos, or I just leave this as leftover for next year, who knows. I will use them at some point, and eventually, definitely. You guys already gave me a lot of really cool ideas, and that's awesome. I can't wait to get to all of them. But I need to collect the rest first before I can start filming. And I need to start filming at least in November. So the deadline for this is November the 15th. Or 15th? I always have such a problem pronouncing that for some reason. But yeah. That is the deadline for that, and like I said, you can give me some kind of a challenge, like any kind of weird thing that you like to see, especially those of you who are not artists themselves. You might just not want to see me draw the entire time, you might want to see something more entertaining. Maybe you want to see me doing something specific out of Play-Doh, maybe you want to see me dancing while I'm trying to draw something. As long as it's filmable for me in my little room, the possibilities are quite endless. Do you want me to make something out of Lego, perhaps, or something like that? Or you can just give me a prompt, like I said. You can give me a prompt or a challenge, or you can give me both. All of that is a possible thing to do. Ron already gave me the challenge that I need to draw a specific prompt with my left hand. That will be quite interesting when we get to that. So that's just a little example here for what will come to you, and yeah, you can go absolutely crazy. Choose something where you think would make you laugh, either a specific prompt where you think that will be very funny to see me drawing and bring to life, or make me do something that's really hilarious for you in your mind and see me fail miserably at the challenge, whatever it is. This time the doors will not be shorts. I will upload all of them as regular videos, just most of those won't be as long, maybe like 4 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or something like that, not too much. So it's supposed to be something that I can do quickly. I will draw most of the images, like when I have to draw something actually, on little postcards pieces. Like I have those pieces of paper that are postcard size that are perfect for this, because other than that, if I try it for every single prompt, if I try to make a really big masterpiece with that, I won't be able to finish all of the videos in time. So some of them might end up being ugly scribbles, some might end up being a good looking one. I definitely don't have the time to be a perfectionist this time, so this is also a good way to train myself, I guess, in getting more maybe loose with my strokes and a bit more confident and stuff like that. It's always good if you don't really have the time to do a lot of fixes, but I will still try to make a good job with all of the pieces that you send me, but not all of them will turn out great. We already have to face that. But yeah, anything that you think will make you laugh, or anything that would make you at awe and really entertained in any kind of way, just give me that and I will put it into one of the doors. Like I said, most of them will be like just a couple of minutes long. I don't want to upload them in short format because, first of all, I think this format just looks weird in an art video, like when you show an artwork of you're developing, especially if you look that up on a big computer screen. And second, if you actually want it to count as a short, you have to be really precise with any little second. Like back then, when it was only allowed to be 1 minute long, as soon as you were 1 millisecond over the 1 minute mark, it didn't count as a short anymore. And that was kind of messing up with my playlist a little bit, and was a little bit annoying. I think nowadays they can be like 4 minutes long, and they are even allowed to be in the square format, I guess. but I prefer to have a normal rectangle kind of video format for this. So yeah, and I don't want to be as precise with paying attention with the editing so much about every single millisecond about how long this thing is. 2 videos will be a little bit longer because they're supposed to be a bit more special. Of course, the 24th, because this is Christmas Eve, and the 6th as well, because I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany the December the 6th is St. Nicholas Day, where you also get a little bit of a tiny gift, usually stuck in your shoes, and usually it's just a little bit of sweets, candy. But yeah, for that day I also might want to do something a bit more special, and I might have an idea for that myself already that I think would be kind of cute and fun, but I need to think about that. For 24th I already know something, though there are actually 2 things that I know. There was just 1 piece that I wanted to do, now I have 2 pieces that I wanted to do because of something that happened recently. And I hope that I can get that done. Let's see. I am also not sure if I can make big illustrations with that, or if I also need to keep them on postcard sites because it's 2 images. But yeah, I will try to make this video more special. It might not be the most fun video because it's about a more serious topic, but I will try to keep it lighthearted and still entertaining and not too tea-breaking. But yeah. Little hint here, these artworks are supposed to be a little gift for 2 specific people in my life. But other than that, just write it either down in the comments or go to my community tab and answer me there. You can also read through the direct description a bit more, or the accurate description of this. I have really word finding issues right now. To get you an idea about this, how I think about doing this, and then you can just write it there, or again, just write it in the comments. Also write me in the comments which character you like the most if you played the game, and know about the whole life update thing. So, I mentioned something about being in pain, I guess, and I may have this in the title or in the thumbnail. I'm not quite sure about this. Oh my gosh, if my tablet strikes, how do I actually draw the avatar for the thumbnail? I hope it still works for a couple of days tomorrow or so. I don't know. We will see how I get this done, because actually it breaks consistency if I don't put my avatar in the thumbnail. But anyway, so I'm a little bit in a physical pain right now because I managed to pinch a nerve beneath my shoulder blade again, like I constantly do this, but this time it seems to be a bit more strong than other times. So of course I can't allow myself to draw a lot because a lot of repetitive movement is not really good for myself. But I also have a side job now. It started as a part-time job, which sadly was just supposed to be a temporary part-time job, because I was basically coming in as a replacement for someone who got sick. The person had a discernic disc, which is quite a serious condition, as you can imagine, and it takes quite a while to heal. So they were expecting that this contract will go on until at least the end of October. And then I started my first day, and she came back. She wanted to try working again because she didn't want to stay at home any longer. She needed the money, and she was feeling a little bit better, so she wanted to give it a try. So at this day we were working together. She was also kind of invite me into a lot of things, like letting me know about some certain things, like how she is doing that. And she needed to pay attention, of course, a little bit about not bowing too much or anything like that, or carrying something heavy. And she was supposed to look how it feels after that day and stuff like that. And because she said she felt like she could do this again, they were trying to find workarounds to still let me be in there for at least the time of my contract. So I was already scared to be kicked out again after I'm not even after I not even tried and have the time to fail, you know? That would be such a miserable feeling for me, because the last time so far where I tried to find any kind of part-time job or mini job, so I finally have time to work on all of the projects that are supposed to make my business stronger, that don't bring me money right now. Of course, I need to find something that brings me money at the moment while I'm working on that stuff. And it couldn't be a full-time job, because then I have to do less time, obviously. But all of the things I tried so far, I failed at that miserably. And I started to think that, you know, maybe I need to go a more drastic route, because there are some specific assumptions I do have about myself. I know that I'm definitely neurodivergent. I just don't know in which direction exactly. I just know that I have a dyscalculia. But I thought that sometimes a lot of the things that prevent me from being a really functional worker, a functional employee, may have to do with that. And maybe I need to ask at a very specific place that I can get a job there. But to get a job at this specific place, I would have needed to get some kind of a certification that says that, yes, it's that and that way, or that at least confirms that I am a little bit restricted in a lot of things when it comes to the normal work field. That I have some problems here and there. Something that actually confirms it, that would let me in there. And it was not about getting a diagnosis for mainly being more acceptable about myself, because I already accepted myself the way I am years ago. And I have family members and friends that all take me the way I am and love me the way I am. That's not a problem. It was more about finding a workspace that takes me the way I am and where I feel like I can still be helpful and functional, and where there's not constantly someone with the clock behind my back because I'm too slow or anything like that. Or perhaps getting some kind of person at my hand that helps me getting through some things in life that are a bit more of a struggle for me. But now I'm not so sure if I need that anymore, that confirmation. I might still want to get it just to get some clarity about this, but I don't have the time crunch in front of me for that anymore, which is kind of great. But I digress. So again, I was feeling a little bit down already, and now I thought, okay, I try my best in this. I have less hopes, but please let this work out. Let this work. It can't be that hard, right? I should be able to do this. And then she comes back. I felt like, oh no, please. But they found a way to work around this, because she had still so many vacation days left because of all of the time she was ill. So they made it like this, that once in a while I was taking like 2 weeks off, and then she was working, and then it was the other way around. And then she got to take I think 3 weeks off. And in that time I was working there. And then I heard that I have the opportunity to stay, because the person that was actually there for the Sundays, because we have open from Monday to Sunday, all of the days, the person that was there only for the Sundays was barely working, she was barely coming, and also was kind of shitty, I guess, in personality. So they did want to fire her. So I was asked if, as soon as this is over, if I want to go take the Sunday shifts. It would be just a mini job then, and not a part-time job, so I wouldn't be health insured anymore, and I would earn a bit less money. But hey, Sunday work has, I don't know how it is in other countries, but in Germany, your employer has to give you a bonus for working on Sunday. And it has to be at least 25%. As far as I understood, in this company you get 50% on top of the regular payment, which is really great. And at least it was something that I could earn towards it. And of course I said yes. I wanted to stay. I didn't want to look for something else again. But because this person that they fired then didn't come anymore at all, I had the 3 weeks where my coworker was still in vacation to work from Monday to Friday, and the Sundays as well, because the Sunday worker was already gone. And one of the weeks I even worked on Saturday, so completely through, and the other 2 Saturdays I had free because I needed a free day there, because I asked for it, because one of that Saturdays I was also working. I was selling on CatsCon. And the other Saturday, well, it was free time. I celebrated the birthday of my mom and my boyfriend, but I was also not at home and in the presence of a lot of people the entire time. So there was not a single time where I could just stay at home and just breathe and refill my social batteries again, because they were kind of low. I was still able to kind of mask it a little bit, I think, but I was running low on energy for that. Even though the work itself, it's not that big of a deal. I work 4 hours a day. That's not that bad, but it's kind of at a weird time placement, so I don't really get that much done in the afternoon, and I don't get that much done in the evening when I come back, because then it's already pretty late and I'm a little bit tired and stuff like this. And even though it's just 4 hours, it's kind of physically really, like, it's physically intense sometimes. Maybe my body is just a little me, you know? Sometimes I feel like, why does my back hurt that much? I didn't do that much stuff. Like, I don't do heavy lifting or anything like this. I think the highest pressure I put on my body is when I wipe the floor and try to get all of the little weird spots on the ground removed. I can't find my words anymore. This is where I put a bit more pressure on my back, I guess, and maybe I'm doing this in the wrong kind of way. I don't know if there is the right kind of position or movement to do this in order to have it a bit less pressuring for your back, but yeah. After the 3 weeks were over, my mini job time would have started, so I just had to come in 1 day per week, but that quickly changed, because as the vacation was over and it was Monday and I was happy to finally just sit down, relax and draw something, suddenly the phone rang and they asked me if I can come today and also the rest of the week, because the coworker felt worse again, and now they are really unsure. Like, now I already worked like multiple weeks, Monday to Friday, had a free Saturday and then worked Sunday again, and she wasn't coming back, and now no one is sure if she can ever come back because she is in a really, really bad state. She can't even properly walk. So they already asked me if I would like to go back into part-time, and I said, of course, yes. So maybe perhaps pretty soon I will be at part-time again, which would be really, really great. For me, at least. I'm a bit sad for the coworker, but on the other hand, it's good for me, you know? It's kind of sad that someone else needs to be in such pain and in such an awkward shape that I have to get this opportunity, that I can get this opportunity. But yeah, of course I take it. And they will, of course, then try to find a bit more free time for me. Currently, it's a little bit in a weird situation because I'm almost full with my work hours for the month. Because, of course, as a mini jobber, you're not allowed to work that much. So they needed to struggle around a little bit. Luckily, they also have someone who usually works on the Saturdays, and she can also sometimes come into other days. So this week actually is really cool. Like, I was working on Monday. Then I had I was working on Monday, I was working on Thursday, and then the next day I will work again is Sunday. So currently, while I'm recording this, it's Friday, so I have another free day in front of me. And this is really great, though. We could stay like this. I could stay in this structure. I wouldn't have anything against that. Like, I can still have my Sunday bonus on top, and make a little bit more hours, but I still have a lot of free time where I can work on my other shit. That's really great. Like I said, I wouldn't have anything against that. But I'm not sure, it's really unclear how the next week will look like. I guess I will probably get to know that on Sunday, or tomorrow someone will call me and tell me that, but I think I will get to know this on Sunday, how the next week will be. But yeah, I can tell you, I'm really excited. Like, I love this work, actually. I mean, what I don't like about it is probably only the fact that I need to leave the comfort of my home that often. I really like to stay at home. But other than that, I feel pretty comfortable in there. I'm usually in the background. I don't get to talk to customers that often. It's only that when I get the dirty dishes back into the kitchen, like I'm basically a washer and cleaner. I wash the dishes, I clean the ground, I clean the toilets, stuff like this. Not that big of a deal. But I'm helping them out a lot, and they show me that, and it's really nice. And again, I only get in contact to the customers when I get the dirty dishes, or when I clean the toilets and there's someone getting in there. Other than that, I'm in the background. And I never had that much appreciation in any kind of job that I worked before. Like, they were so thankful for me when I said yes to every single week where it was renewed that she can't come back. Every single week I was hoping that she feels better and would come back, and it was not the case, and I couldn't get to the proper rest that I wanted. But I said yes anyways, and they were always so thankful. Like, really, I got greeted one day with the sentence, "It's so great that you exist," or something along the line like this. It's a bit weird to translate, because schön, dass es dich gibt is more like, if you translate it really correctly, like word for word, it's like beautiful that it gives you. Like, it doesn't make any sense in English, so you kind of have to. Dass es dich gibt means like that you exist, basically, or that you there, that we have you, or something like this. And of course, for something like this, like a certain circumstance like this, you don't say the word pretty or beautiful in that way in English. You say more like nice or great. So nice that you exist, or great that you exist, something like this, along the lines like this. But you get the point. Like, there was a message I was receiving after just getting in there. I was greeted with that, and they were always like, "We can be so happy that we have you." And always when I went in for the next year, "Thank you for getting in. We don't know what we would do without you." It was so great. It was like, for the first time in forever, I was feeling helpful. Like, really. Like, I felt needed, and actually like I was doing something. Like, I was actually able to be helpful. Like, people were relying on me other than the other way around, because usually in my life it's usually like I need a lot of help for a lot of things, and being the person that is the helpful one for once is kind of like, it's really great, you know. I don't have this that often. It might have happened once in a while in my private life before, but not as often. The most helpful I can feel is when I cook something at home, and Kevin is really enjoying it and getting a portion after this, and is always really happy if I make the plate appear in a certain way, like draw little hearts with something, stuff like that. Always decorating it like it is in some kind of restaurant. He's always so happy about it. But it's also kind of like, sorry that you have that the kitchen looks the way it does, because usually I tend to be very unorganized when I cook, so sometimes I get it done right, but most of the times it's like I leave the kitchen in a really bad state, and he is usually the one who cleans it up. He can also cook, but usually I'm the one who does it. Because I just like to, because it's basically the only thing in house chores that I'm kind of good at and also enjoy. I'm not like the best housewife you can imagine or anything. Like I said, I'm pretty unorganized. I have a messy mind, and so my surrounding usually looks like this. Yeah, and I don't know, just have this much of appreciation, receive that much of appreciation from a workspace. I never had that before, I think. I never felt that needed, and I don't know, that it actually means something that I'm there to other people. It's so great. I'm already getting tears in my eyes. Already tearing up when I talk about this. It's such a great feeling, I tell you. But what's not a great feeling is the pinched nerve in my back, and if that gets worse, then I might need to see a doctor, which would be quite bad. Like, if they tell me that I need to stay home for a couple of weeks, or at least a week, then they are kind of screwed. And of course, if they tell me that I also are not allowed to draw for multiple weeks, then I'm even more pissed. Like, ugh. But on the other hand, I also don't want to lose my physical ability to draw. Like, if you ignore pain, if you just normalize it and act through and just work through it, your body will repay you for that, and not in the way you want it. Like, it will actually tell you, buddy, dude, my friend, this is not the way you have to treat me. Now you go get the payback for this. And I know from one artist that I follow on YouTube, she had to recover for 2 whole years. 2 whole years where she could not even properly hold a pencil. 2 years of not drawing. That would kill me. Like, really, like... Once when I had a tendonitis on my wrist, I was not drawing for approximately 2 months, and that was already torture. Like, the pain in my wrist wasn't even that bad, and I must say that while the pain in my shoulder right now, that also goes down to the entire hand sometimes, it is painful, but it's something manageable for me. I was in worse pains before, and worse physical pains. Like, I once had a condition with my stomach where it felt like, where I couldn't sleep the entire night and felt like soon there will break out an alien out of this, because it really felt that much tension, like something was breaking off my belly or something, or would break out of my belly, like an alien out of your chest, basically. It really hurt it that much, so compared to that, this is nothing. The actual pain is the emotional pain that I have from not being able to draw that much, from not being able to allow myself to draw that much. I could just ignore it and try to move on, but I know exactly that I would make it worse then, and maybe then end up in a position where I won't be physically able to draw for the rest of my life. And that would end a huge portion of my life. It's a really important part for me to just create and draw. I don't want to lose this ability because I really enjoy drawing, even when I'm kind of not enjoying it, when I go through a state of fear and messy sketches and try to figure out the perfect angle and the right anatomy and stuff, and suck at every single stroke for some days and need to start over again the next day. Even when these phases are that I kind of hate, even then I'm kind of enjoying it in a way, because it's part of the process. And taking that process away from me, like, that would be hell for me. It's like sending Karlach back to Avernus. That would be for me not being physically able to draw again. It's hell to even think about this. And this is the actual pain I'm in, not the physical one. Because, I can kind of live with it, but I can't live with the fact that I can't draw less. And someday I have entire days where I can't draw at all. And those are mostly my free days, where I'm like, I want to draw right now. Especially, it's October, guys. It's so cozy. I just want to sit at my window, look at the colorful trees and the rain and the wind and sip a tea or a hot chocolate and draw something while maybe listening to a comforting kind of a draw of me or something like this. And I can't, because my body says no. And I also have to pay attention to the fact that the next day I need to go to work again, and I need to be functional for work again. And if I don't get my body rest in that sense, I at least need to give it rest in this instead I'm not drawing. So if it starts to hurt exactly at the day where I have a free day, I feel so screwed over, because I'm constantly so excited for every single free day that I get, where I can just stay at home and draw, do any kind of other creative shenanigans like editing, which is also a very, very repetitive movement for my shoulder and my arm and my wrist. And then I don't get to do that because I realize it hurts again, and I need to pay attention to that. It's so bad. If it gets worse, I actually might need to get someone to look into this, because this time it doesn't go away. Usually when it happens after a week or so, it goes off relaxing and stuff. It goes away, but this time it doesn't. It comes and goes a little bit. Some days I barely feel it, and other days it's really, really hurtful, painful, however you want to say that. And it's so annoying. I once had this and used a trick from a book, because I was kind of desperate, and I was looking up in my herbal book if there is anything you could do against pinched nerves. I don't know if it was for the ischias or if it was for any kind of pinched nerve exactly. There were different chapters, but they had said you should take a nettle, one of these green herbs that have these little hairs that when you touch them, it feels like you were burned, but it's actually really good for your blood circulation. That shit. So you take one of them and strike basically upwards towards the point where the nerve is pinched. Like, I don't know anymore, 3 times or 5 times, and then you keep it warm, and then after approximately 2 days it should be over. So I tried that out, and it actually worked back then, and I'm really thinking about doing that again, just getting some kind of a nettle. We have a lot in our garden, but we have to drive there, and currently it's constantly stormy outside, so I don't want us to drive there just to get one single nettle. Maybe we'll find one in the area around us. But I'm also like, I hear so many scary stories about people trusting a physiotherapist and then it all goes backwards. Like the mom of my friend went through so many of them, and they actually just didn't help her, they just made it worse. And now she is in a really, really bad state. But they are also in another country, so... And the other person I know this about lives in Canada, so maybe that wouldn't apply for physiotherapists in here. I guess you have some good ones and some bad ones in here in Germany, but you never know which one you get. And there are apparently some who really give you the wrong kinds of movements that are actually really unnatural and not that good for your body. But they learned it this way, apparently, and it's actually not that good. But yeah, this is about this. And so this is one of the reasons why I can't finish the artwork for this particular video. And the other reason, of course, is that my tablet is currently striking. It has this problem once in a while, but it's getting worse, so I think we really need to, why do I say so? We really need to finally get it sent in for repair, as long as it still has warranty or guarantee. How do you say this in English? We say guarantee, so guarantee in German, but I guess it's warranty in English, right? Warranty? Was it warranty? I constantly forget that. But yeah, we can still get it repaired without paying for that, is what I want to say. And that is until December the 19th. Until then, we still have time to send it in. So we should better do that. And in the entire time when I don't have my tablet, I can't finish any kind of digital work that I started with. Or do any new ones that I would like to do. Luckily for me, I do a lot of stuff traditional, but there are also a lot of things that I do digitally. Like animating, for instance, and also I draw my thumbnails digitally. And I don't want to go back using my pen tablet for that. First of all, I would need to delete the driver of the other tablet for this to get the other driver back in. And second of all, it's not the most comfortable thing to draw on anymore. It's really worn down and it doesn't make the strokes the way I want to, which results into me cramping my hand a lot, which is of course also not very good. So yeah, I don't know. What should I do? Maybe I could draw my avatars for the thumbnail just traditionally and then put that in, or make my entire thumbnail traditionally for a couple of months or so. I don't know, but it would kind of kill the consistency. But hey, maybe that would be aesthetically pleasing for a lot of people. Maybe that would get more attention to people because people are not used to see traditionally made thumbnails. But I kind of like the blend of my digital drawn avatar and some real-life photos of things, like when I did a traditional artwork and I have a photo of that on it, and or I have some kind of photo from real life and have my avatar interacting with it. This is something I can't really do with traditional art. I mean, I can kind of do it, but it's a bit harder to do. Can either pull up a little trick, like, you know, cut it out and set it up there in some kind of way, or you just put the picture in later on. But cutting that out digitally also means that then I need to cut it out by using the mouse, which is quite a burden. I don't know. Problems. But anyways, this is it from me so far. So yeah, currently when I'm recording this, I am still in a mini job position, but I might be able to go back into a part-time position, which is really great. But it also means less time to work on videos. But in the free times I have more freedom to actually mainly work on videos and not be so worried about, oh, there is another month passed without any commission and I haven't finished this one product that I could sell and maybe make some money with. I don't need to worry so much about these things. I can take my time with it because I do have some monthly income that helps me to pay my bills, which is really good. So that also means that, of course, I can offer commissions now a bit much cheaper, because I'm also not allowed to take that to earn that much more money throughout a month extra on top of that what I earn there, you know. So yeah, I can go down with the prices there. And actually, I put this in way too late into the video. Actually, I should mention stuff like this in like the middle or so, when there are still people paying attention. But here I am, completely forgot about all of that. Anyways, of course, there's also a link in the description for the case that you may want to have a shirt or a mug or anything else with a design that I drew on it. This is a spread shop, a print on demand, so I get at least a little portion of the money that you pay. The rest, of course, goes to the print on demand service because they do more, so they of course also get more. But at least they don't take that many percentage as Redbubble does. That's why I'm not on Redbubble anymore. But yeah, I get a teeny tiny bit of money from that as well. And you get to wear a shirt with a really unique design, or use any of the other items in the shop with my design on it that maybe shows your personality a bit better to people, or just brings you a little smile. Something like this, or it shows your love to ravens, because of course I do have a lot of raven artworks there, and there will be more. There's one that I'm working on right now, actually, at the moment. Not at the moment I'm recording this, of course, but I have another one in store that as soon as it's done, I hope that I can edit it the way I want to, because it's a traditional one, and upload it in a way that works good on a t-shirt and on other products as well. And yeah, I have had a few sales already, and some of the people were as lovely to send me some to give me some pictures. My mom also bought one, and I took a picture of her, but she's not a very convincing model. For some reason she just can't get her facial expression right for this. She actually likes it, but it looks weird. Anyways, so far I have gotten quite the approval on the fabric quality, and also the prints come out great, so I'm pretty relieved on that, and it seems to be quite well. I also want to get some of these products myself. I just need to save up for it. And again, if you want to commission me, you can contact me through my email address, which is terracorvus@web.de, or if you have other options to directly contact me, you can of course also use them. Like if we are in contact through Instagram or Discord, you can of course just ask me out there. I get a lot of my requests of through Discord, actually. This is kind of weird. I don't have my own server though, I just have my own account there. So, and I'm not sure if I should openly announce that, but I think if you type in terracorvus, you can just find me, because this is the name that I operate with anywhere. It's just on some platforms I need to write it a little bit different because they want that. But yeah. So much about that for now. And of course, if you just want to give me a little donation, you can do that over on Ko-fi. The link also will be in the description, and there is the rent over with that self-promotion stuff. I really need to get better with this, but again, this is unscripted. I don't really have a strict plan for when I say what. So this is where I have to live with right now. Maybe you can make this a little bit better with the editing, but I don't think so. This one is just a mess. An absolute mess. But yeah, again, remember, if you haven't done this already, tell me in the comments, or in the comments from my community tab post, if you have any ideas for me, any prompts or challenges that I can use for my YouTube advert calendar. I will work most likely entirely on these videos for the entirety of November, so it's possible that there is no new video coming out in November, but perhaps there is one. I will keep you updated if I manage to get one done in time. We'll see. But yeah, tell me that down in the comments. Of course, tell me, like, have you played Baldur's Gate 3 already? Are you in general a D&D fan, but haven't played this game just yet? And how is your opinion about it? What is your favorite character, if you know the game at all? or if you got curious about it just right now, because I talked about it so passionately, but I think I didn't really do this enough. I wanted to be way more entertaining in this, but my voice was slowing down quite quickly, so I don't know. Anyways, I try to make this a little bit more edited than my Cozy Draw with Me, so that it's also a little bit more fun to watch and listen to me. Of course, also tell me down in the comments what you think about the artwork. Like, do you think the mouth looks right? Do you have any problems with that? Any of this. And if you're still here, thank you so much for watching. Also, thank you so much for watching for anyone else, but you wouldn't hear it. But if you're still here, thank you so much that you actually listen to me ramble about my passions and about my current life situation for that long time. I think we're almost at 2 hours in the recording. Maybe the editing will make it a little bit shorter, I don't know. If not, then we have a 2-hour long video. I hope I have enough footage for that. Anyways, that's it from me. Again, thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you did. And as always, keep creating and stay nice to ravens. Terra out.